South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show. Every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Welcome in at Sports by the Book. Well, I'm spinning chair for the beginning of the show. I'm Jeff Parles. Alex White will join me in the spinning in a second. Good morning, everyone. We're thrilled to be with you. We got a lot to get to, Alex. Sweet 16. By the way, real quick, all the props are up here at the South Point, 1st to 15. Team totals all up here at the South Point. Also, if you like NCAA hockey, those numbers are up for the regionals. Not just Frozen Four or anything like that. These are the actual regionals. So the beginning of the tournament up now here at the South Point, available to bet. Alex and I don't have any plays on this, so we apologize in advance. And something called baseball really gets rolling here today, Alex.
Opening day. Here in the States, opening day.
It's opening day. It's okay.
I am excited. There's some really good pitchers going today. It'll probably be a wait and see for me throughout the day, and I want to see how all these pitchers look and see what kind of form they're in. Of course, they had spring training, but a lot can happen this first few weeks. So,
also, congratulations to people of my age, your age, and Vince's age. That Backyard Baseball is officially on mobile now. That's a nice opening day treat as well. All right, let's get to it. Let's start at starting the Sweet 16. Don't worry, we'll have plenty of baseball. Our friend Dwayne Colucci, by the way, joins us in 15 minutes. So let's start. We will start in Newark. We'll go by rotation number order here first. Let's start with Duke in Arizona. This is the nightcap, the 6:40 Pacific, 9:40 local time in Newark, New Jersey. There we go. The Prudential Center in action here for the first time in the NCAA tournament since 2011. No John Calipari this time in this region, at least. That's who won it the last time it was in Newark. Duke, 9.5. Alex, 155. By the way, real quick, more promotion here at the South Point. If you are on property at the South Point, the Rampart, Virgin River, and up in Mesquite, you can go ahead and bet minus 105 on single sides throughout the rest of the NCAA tournament, but you must be on property. No parlays either. Must be on property. Minus 105 up at the window, over at the kiosk at any Gone Gaming properties here in Nevada. So that's always a good promotion, as we know. Duke in Arizona, though, Alex, opened 9, went up to 9.5. That's where it is right now. 153.5 to 155 on this game.
So best bet in this this game, I did go over 153.5, so now it has moved up to a point where I don't love it because I don't have that 5-point difference there, but I really do like the Wildcats getting the points here. If you look at just the schedules that these two have played, Arizona's the 8th toughest schedule. Duke played the 60th. We know that their conference was down. ACC was the 5th best conference, and if you're comparing and you're looking, okay, Big East, UConn's domination the last couple of years, they were still the 2nd best conference. So this is a drastic change. I'm worried about them late, and I think it'll be tight. I also think Arizona has an edge here because they already saw them once, and I think that they can come in here with confidence and really give it their all. So I like the over because I do think that they will have success. We saw Oregon try to slow them down with their transition defense. It did not work. Obviously, Duke is better than Oregon, but I do think Arizona will have some success offensively. Another big part of this matchup really is if you look down the stats and you look at Arizona, they have a 7-foot sophomore, Henry Vasar, and he didn't have a huge role on the team yet when they played Duke early on. He's really stepped up, even started some games. So I think he'll be huge and help the Tennessee transfer in Toby Awaka stepping in there. So yeah, I like the points here with Arizona.
So these teams met way early in the season in Tucson. That was November 22nd, and Arizona was a favorite in that game. Duke won by 14, won comfortably in Tucson. Now, we remember with Arizona, they were a totally different team in non-con. They were 4-5 after a loss to UCLA on December 14th. Since then, they've been as good as anyone. They're 18-7. Adding 2 more wins, make it 20-7 since that loss to UCLA. This never been a talent question for Arizona. It's been other factors that have been a question. For me, it's Tommy Lloyd himself, in-game management, and it's Caleb Love's efficiency. And that game against Oregon was the best game Caleb Love has played in a very long time. His decision-making was good. He was efficient. I mean, he was 5 of 7 from 3, for goodness sakes. And even though he's 5-11 from 2, there were not many, what the heck are you doing shots. It was a lot of good shots that just didn't go. That's why he was not even more efficient from 2-point range. And they were in a 19-4 hole against Oregon as well. That looked like, oh, here we go. This is going to be a 20-point blowout. They didn't show up, and they got out of it, and they won the game, which was very impressive. But this is a different animal in Duke here, who's just much more talented than this Oregon team that they saw in round 2. Duke is honestly really like nothing Arizona has seen all year, which is, I know they played Houston twice and they lost to Houston twice. But again, Houston's constructed a little bit differently than Duke. I'm staying completely out of this game for one reason and one reason only, Alex. I am just not certain if Arizona is a team that Duke is capable of beating up and blowing out, but I'm also concerned that Arizona could, again, if they get a 19-4 hole in this game, forget it. You are going to lose this game by 25. So I want to see it. Maybe it's an in-game play. By the way, just so you have it, 1st to 15 on Arizona's plus 175, which is by margin the best price tonight. If you want it, bet it sooner rather than later. It's not going to exist for much longer here at the South Point just because everyone loves betting the underdogs 1st to 15. But this is a stay off for me. And that total, if anything, it might be a little high. But if Arizona's close, we're going to get a foul game at the end, Alex.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at points per game for both of these teams, and I know Duke really points against has been very good, but they haven't played teams like Arizona too often. So I lean to the over definitely. I think I had it 158. But like I said, I like a 5-point difference. So now I don't have that difference. But also with the side, I mean, I do have a 2.5-point difference. And I do have Duke number 1 and still 7 here against Arizona. So I'm hoping that the Wildcats can keep it close.
Do not read into my shirt color today. There are a lot of teams. Every game has a team that at least has a shade of red, and Texas Tech and Arkansas has multiple shades of red. So don't read into my shirt color. I know Sean did that last week. So
I originally picked out a blue one, and then I thought the exact same thing. So I went with a nice neutral.
Neutral today.
Thank you. Baseball
yes,
pinstripes.
You do. Very much so. All right, the other game in the East, Alabama takes on BYU, and we talked about this earlier in the week, Alex, and it's funny, this total really hasn't moved. It's been pretty well stuck at 175 and a half until earlier this morning, where this got all the way to 177 and then got hacked back down to the 175 and a half on Alabama and BYU. It's 5. It was opened at 4.5, was as high as 5.5. I would only bet the over at this lower number at 175 and a half. This is as close to an NCAA tournament game that could be in the 80 possession regulation category. Like, we could get there, Alex. But these two teams are very similar constructed. They're super offense first. Neither defense is particularly good, but Alabama's defense is much better than BYU's. That's my biggest concern when it's all said and done for Brigham Young, pulling an upset or staying close here. I just think the gap in the defense is because we all like getting on Bama's defense. Bama's still a top 40 defense in the country. BYU is the worst defense left by margin in this field at 72. You're bordering on potentially being played out of the game with that sort of defense against Alabama, especially if they're making their shots.
And especially with the confidence that they are playing with. I mean, they made it to the Final Four last year. Been there, done that. A lot of these guys were on that team. I trust Nate Oates. I was really concerned, even though I had a big difference, and I did bet Bama the other day. I thought if they were going to be upset, it was going to be St. Mary's, a team that could throw them off their rhythm. And it didn't happen. It wasn't even really a concern. So now I do feel really confident. This is my favorite of the day is Bama. I do think that they will cover this. So I didn't bet side or total yet. I'm going to look for an alternate line here for Bama to win by a margin of maybe 6-10 here. I saw that was 4-1, but maybe not get locked down in those numbers. So the defense is one thing, the confidence with Sears and company, and Bama also can defend the 3, and I think BYU just lives and dies by that too much.
So, few things for me more so than anything on this. For BYU, again, that game got super tight late against Wisconsin. They actually needed to get a stop. Then Wisconsin was very much whining about what happened at the end of that game. The only response to that properly is just shut up, Wisconsin, even though I like them. But you know, it's so interesting when you get this sort of style similarity where I'm kind of in the, if you made me play the side in this game, I would lean towards what you just said, where Bama and BYU play very similar styles, but Bama is more talented. It's very hard to win in March without some anomaly, which, look, could happen. Could BYU come out and randomly have a game where they shoot 55% from 3 and 60% from the field? Oh, absolutely. They're more than capable of doing that. The bigger concern for that is that BYU is coming off a game where they averaged 1.3 points a possession and shot 51% from 2 and 46% from 3. That's pretty hard to do 2 straight games, especially with a venue change mixed in there. So it would be a lean to Bama. Again, going into this tournament, Alex, my bracket was 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-3. Chalk, 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 basically, across the board except for Tennessee. St. John's can't get there, but it could still be 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-3 with just a little bit of a different variety, and it would not shock me at all if we get that chalk in the East. And boy, Bama Duke, and honestly, BYU Duke, either of these matchups would be pretty awesome on Saturday night. And if it's Bama Duke, you can already lock that thing in. That's going to be prime time on Saturday as the late game.
Yeah. No, I mean, really, we can't get a bad matchup here in the East. I mean, even you left out Arizona, but I mean,
I would be quite the upset. It really would be, even with how well they have played over the last few months. I just don't see it. I just don't see them winning it outright. They could absolutely cover the game, like you said, but just don't see them pulling that outright. Of course, this is the right side of the bracket for everyone holding a bracket in their hands. East will play Midwest in the semifinal, which is the Houston, Purdue, Tennessee, and Kentucky region, which we'll fully break down on tomorrow's show. We may even break it down a little bit with Dwayne Colucci, who's coming up momentarily. So, we'll take a break. When we get back, We'll ask Dwayne his thoughts, what they're betting at his shop on these East games. We'll get his thoughts and our thoughts all together on the West. And then opening day in Major League Baseball, we'll see what the action is up at the Rampart with our friend Dwayne Colucci when we get back. Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south-of-the-border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back in. It's Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. And now joining us, our good friend up at the Rampart. You see him on this show weekly, and you see him in the middle of your screen right now. Our good friend Dwayne Colucci, NY Dwayne on the tweets. Race and Sportsbook Director up at the Rampart in Summerlin, Las Vegas. DC, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How's everybody doing at the fabulous South Point?
Well, we're looking for some chips. That's what we're looking for. We want to be able to use the circles that are in front of us to place our bets, more so than anything. So, Dwayne, Alex and I just gave our thoughts on the East region. I'm curious yours. Let's just start with the game that's first in the rotation numbers, even though it's the late night. That's Duke, who is the betting favorite to win this thing at this rate, plus 225 here and up at your shop. 9.5 on them tonight against Arizona with a total of 156.
Yeah, Arizona's got to start a lot better than they did against Oregon. I'll tell you that. They're not going to be able to come back against this team if they do not, come out smoking, all guns firing. But, Arizona definitely, they have a chance here. Duke had the most favorable bracket that I've seen in years, guys. I mean, it's just they don't have to travel at all. They look pretty dominant. But, that sometimes could just be an aberration because who are you playing? That's what you have to look into. And definitely, I think Arizona right now is probably the best team that they've played thus far in this tournament. And they're still almost a double-digit favorite. And I'm looking at the ticket count. It's well over 2-1 in favor of Duke. Everybody's going to be parlaying Duke, whether it's money line or laying the 9.5 here at the Rampart and South Point. But, I give Arizona a chance, but they have to start a lot better. Just like I said, betting public is all over Duke in this one. Flag, it looks like he wasn't injured at all. He's looked monstrous, and they are so deep. They are just not about Flag. They have several other options and weapons, and definitely are going to be difficult to stop in the tournament itself. I believe they'll win this game, but Arizona could cover and fall within the 9.5.
Dwayne, what do you think about the next matchup here, BYU and Alabama? A very high total. We know why. Both of these teams want to run and are very good offensively. So Bama's a 5-point favorite here at our shop at 175.5.
Yeah, definitely, Alex. I think Alabama has had to play defense, though, in the SEC at times, whereas BYU is just a flashy offense. You saw what happened against Houston, a couple of weeks back, where they dominated the first game. They scored over 100 points, and then Houston just shut them down. I love Alabama in this spot. I think you're mixing apples and oranges here. I think Alabama is a far better team. I could be wrong, but I think Alabama is going to shoot the lights out. -5 here at the Rampart and South Point. But believe it or not, we're high on BYU money, even though the ticket count favors Alabama. This is another one of those games where the sharps have taken BYU, whereas the general public is going to stick with the SEC and the powerhouse conference and Alabama, the flashy three-pointers. Everybody remembers how well they played against Auburn and the difficulty of schedule. I think that will come into play here. I like Alabama a lot. You have to take into consideration too, Alex, with teams like BYU, Arizona, the traveling and the wear and tear after a while. It's got to catch up with you.
BYU, it just, again, like you said, flashy offense. Bama, flashy offense as well, as we know. That 175.5. You don't see that very often in an NCAA tournament game. But, again, don't have much of an argument for the under, at least on my end for this game. All right, let's look at the West region together here. All three of us will all give our thoughts on this. We'll start with our friend Dwayne. Arkansas is Cinderella. Yes, that's what this tournament is. John Calipari in Arkansas, the only double digit to make the second weekend. They did it at the expense of our Johnnies, Dwayne. But they get Texas Tech, who handled their business against Wilmington and Drake, winning both games, covering the second one. 5.5 the number here with the Red Raiders, total 148. That line really hasn't moved, even with looking like Thero is going to play for Arkansas. That total's been the bigger mover, but is only up a point from the opener now.
Well, like you said, Jeff, who did they play, though? Drake and Wilmington. This is going to be a much tougher test. And Arkansas just played. Calipari had the kids playing fabulous defense against St. John's. And who would have thought St. John's would have had their worst game of the season against this big juggernaut coaching matchup, playing against a team that is now finally getting healthy. Keep that in mind, guys, and Alex will attest to that. They were banged up, Arkansas, most of this year. Now, down the stretch, they're starting to get healthy. And you could see it on the basketball court. I love Calipari as a head coach, and especially in these situations. That's why you're seeing this somewhat dead number of 5.5 on Texas Tech. Ticket count is favoring Arkansas as well as the money, and I think the public might have this one right, but Texas Tech is definitely a tough out. Don't think that it's just going to be like the St. John's game where Arkansas shuts them down. They're going to have to do a lot of different things. St. John's played their worst game in the season against Arkansas. Texas Tech will not do that. This is a tough matchup, kind of like Arkansas slightly, but I wouldn't put all my eggs in this basket.
I am jumping in on Arkansas, taking the points. I agree with you. It's a new season, and they're getting healthy, and I think they can at least keep this close. Let's go to the next game on the board here. Florida, 6-point favorite. A team that was everybody's favorite going into this tournament here, playing against Maryland. Seems like the bettors do like the points in this one as well.
Yeah, now it got bet back up, Alex, to 6.5. So, I'm looking at the screen. You guys don't have that benefit. Ticket count is huge here, 4-1 in favor of Florida. I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, everybody sees it. You know what the SEC brings to the table. Florida was at the top of the conference most of the year. This is a monstrous team. You look at, they just destroyed both, Norfolk State they destroyed, but UConn really pushed them. But that's a UConn team that was a multiple championship team. That was the toughest game of last weekend. I was all over UConn. I thought the point spread was way too high in that, and I'm a bookmaker myself, but we have to make it the way we feel it's going to play out. And you're just one run away with Florida. Keep that in mind. When we're making these lines, you could see UConn was able to keep up, but that game wasn't as close as it really was perceived down the stretch. They had that 4 or 5 point cushion throughout. Hurley was flipping out after the game. There was some suspect calls, but I won't go that far. I think Florida won the game, and they definitely are going to be tough moving on in this tournament. That's why we're seeing now some flashes of Florida money. I think we're going to get plied with Florida money up until this game time. I think we're going to see a ton of parlays, with Florida anchoring today and Duke. This is going to be a tough matchup for Maryland. Maryland, everybody was saying that was a suspect game as well down the stretch. So should they be there? They are, but I think Florida blows this team out.
So this is up to 6.5 now, just moved while you're actually talking, Dwayne. I actually am a little less convinced of the favorite in this one covering. Now, do I think they win? Yes. I would be surprised if Maryland pulled this thing outright. The whole Willard thing is bizarre. He's clearly going to Villanova after Maryland is eliminated, or if Maryland just keeps winning, it's going to push that back until April at this rate. One of the weirder circumstances you're ever going to see. No Bo Schembechler in this one, Dwayne. No, I want a Michigan man to coach Michigan. I don't want a Maryland man to coach Maryland here at least. But it's interesting because with this Terp team, they don't have a lot of depth, but their high-end starters, I think, can play with Florida. I think the biggest difference in this game and why I expect Florida to win, guys, is just that Florida's depth plays the role. And again, I think this game is tight. If this number is going to keep going up, I'm going to take the points with Maryland. I think if we get 7 again, I'll be on it. But this is such a good Florida team, and metrically speaking, they're the only one behind Duke right now, Alex.
It'll be very interesting, right? Both of them had a scare coming into this game, so we'll see how they respond. But I'm definitely like the points here and them at least keeping it close.
I will say in the other game, I like chalk to prevail. I'm not betting Arkansas and Texas Tech at all. I expect Texas Tech to win, but again, there's always one team that befuddles everyone that makes it to the Elite Eight, and this Arkansas team that was dead in the early portion of the SEC schedule obviously played a lot better. And despite Calipari really doing nothing on the sidelines, it is still working for Arkansas right now. All right, DC. I'm just curious your thoughts on tomorrow's games. Alex will give her picks actually for tomorrow's games later in the show. I'll be here with Chris and Vinny to break all 4 of those games down. But is there anything that stands out to you tomorrow? Of course, the South and the Midwest. We have Auburn in action against Michigan State and Ole Miss, Purdue, Houston, and Kentucky and Tennessee. Any of those 4 games stand out to you on how they're betting it up at your shop, or just your thoughts personally?
Well, we're seeing a high ticket count on Sparty, naturally, -3.5 at the Rampart and South Point. That one's about a 2.5 to 1 ticket count. Michigan State in favor of Michigan State. I personally love Auburn against Michigan. I think Michigan Big Blues run comes to an end. They've played fabulous, don't get me wrong, for 2.5 weeks now, but I think Auburn is a superior team. I think that, they're going to have that mindset to where let's come out, let's now show this is the Sweet 16. Let's flex. We could get to the finals. They've been the best college basketball team all year. They had a rough go of it down the stretch. They lost 3 key games. I think the losing is over. I personally love Auburn in this matchup, but we're getting great two-way action on that game. Auburn is -9 against Michigan, and that's a 6:30 start. So, that's one of the later games as well. Houston, they play such great defense. Sampson, he has that team playing as well as they could play. It's going to be so difficult to beat them. It's just a matter of will they cover as the game gets later and down the stretch. Purdue is very solid, though, so keep your eye on the Boilermakers. I'm not going to touch this game. I think that Houston is the better team, but I think Purdue can cover this spread. We're looking at money count of 2 to 1 on Houston. Ticket count is almost 2 to 1 as well. Yeah, now it is 2 to 1. So, this is going to be a tough out for us bookmakers because Houston is going to be on every single parlay coming up from today as well. You're going to see a lot of those Duke, Florida, Auburn, Houston parlays. Those are the teams that are going to be anchoring all the parlays and the teasers and what have you. Money line as well. You look at Houston -4.25. That could be a steal. I'll be honest with you. Even though you're laying 425 to win 100, it looks really appealing. Purdue will play a tough game, but I think Houston's the better team. Kentucky and Tennessee, I don't have much of an opinion. Money is slightly favoring Kentucky, -4.5 in this game. SEC powerhouse matchup. We'll see how it plays out. Very difficult to handicap. 2 very solid teams. Tennessee has played very well down the stretch. Kentucky, what they bring to the table. So this is a tough one to handicap. 4.5 at the Rampart and South Point. Like I said, we're seeing great two-way money, slightly in favor of Kentucky. Ticket count, though, is slightly in favor of Tennessee. So that's how you could see how it's great two-way action. This is why we love the Sweet 16. Do not forget, -105 at the counter, guys, at the Rampart and South Point. Why would you bet anywhere else if you're in, if you're in town? You got to be crazy. You got to come and see us. You got Chris on the strip. You got me and fabulous Summerlin. What more do you need?
Dwayne, I actually jumped on 3 totals tomorrow, 3 unders that I really like, Ole Miss and Michigan State. That one has not moved. Purdue and Houston dropped down a little bit. I went under 132. But the one I'm most surprised about that has moved the most, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I went under 146 for Kentucky and Tennessee. And I believe you guys are at
You're 145.
145 now? Okay, so not huge. But are you surprised by that? I kind of thought Houston would be the one to drop the most.
Yeah, definitely. I thought so. But, when you get these rivalries like Tennessee and Kentucky, you obviously know that it's going to be such a difficult, hard-nosed matchup. We know Houston definitely plays the top defense. They're the best defensive team left in the tournament. And you can only handicap that so much, Alex. When you're looking for these unders, you're looking for these rivalry matchups late in the tournament. This is one of them. Not surprised that we're taking a lot of action, on that total in Kentucky and Tennessee.
Dwayne, I want to shift to baseball. Opening day today. Everyone.
I know you're excited. The Mets are, up at the top of the National League in the preseason rankings. So Mr. Parles is happy.
We'll see how it plays out, Dwayne. We'll see how it plays out. But here you go today. I just want to start, actually. I'm going to the game that's actually at the bottom of the card because, of course it is, the Dodgers and the Tigers, which is a mid-afternoon LA game. So have fun getting there at Chavez Ravine for everyone for getting the banner up at Dodger Stadium. But this is Blake Snell and Tariq Skubal to open the season. That's pretty darn good here, Dwayne. $1.60 on the Dodgers. I mean, how many times are you going to get Skubal with this sort of price all year? Maybe one more time, maybe twice at most. Plus 145 for Detroit here in this one. And not the only 6.5 on the board total-wise, Dwayne.
Never mind that, Jeff. When are you going to see the Dodgers only minus 160 this year? I mean, so it works both ways. Fair. You get the plus with Detroit, and you only get the minus 160 with the Dodgers. I'm looking at a 4-1 ticket count. Everybody's going to bet the Dodgers. I'm a Dodger fan, but, Chris, Jimmy, and Vinny are going to shoot me this year because I got to keep my mouth shut. We're going to have to root against them the whole year. They are a far superior roster. Injuries will have to help the other teams in the National League, including the Mets, the Braves, the Padres. Dodgers are better than all these teams. This is a tough matchup just because it's opening day, and the Dodgers had to travel from Tokyo. There's trouble with Mookie Betts. He's starting to put some weight back on, thank God. You never want to see something like that, a parasite or a debilitating problem physically to keep a person off the field. But as long as he starts to get healthy, have Ohtani, have the fabulous Japanese contingency, so many arms the Dodgers have. They made all the right acquisitions. Going to be very difficult to beat this team. Tommy Edman he's a unbelievable utility player that they were able to garner as well. So, the Dodgers are so deep. This is a tough game to handicap just because you have Detroit's ace as well. And like we said, the travel factor. You can look at Detroit in this game, but, I wouldn't bet on it personally. It's opening day, but the Dodgers are here to stay this year. It's going to be tough to beat them all year. We're going to hope they go under that win total because you're going to see a lot of 2, 3 to 1s. You might even see some 2.5s on the run lines this year. So definitely a deal on Detroit, but a deal on the Dodgers as well, Jeff. It works both ways.
I've got to go to the Pittsburgh game because of our crew here. And of course, Paul Skeens is getting the start only minus 145 against one of the worst teams in the league. They're playing at Miami. But I mean, that says a lot about the Pirates, right? And their struggles offensively. Where are you at? Do you think that's a fair number, minus 145 for Pittsburgh?
Definitely, Alex. They're a 6-1 ticket count. I mean, the guy's learning new pitches. He's dominating to begin with. And, Skeens is another guy. Barring injury, he's going to be their workhorse and anchor, but they do have offensive problems. You see that 6.5 run total. I think this kid is just going to dominate this game. I don't see much with Miami improving. So, I mean, the kid was 11-3, ERA under 2. Strikeout ratio is unbelievable. Unbelievable pitcher. I like Skeens in this matchup. I will definitely put Pittsburgh on a couple of parlays.
Dwayne, I just want to bring this one up because there was a pitcher change in Kansas City today. Guardians and Royals, two teams that were in the division series. Of course, Cleveland made it to the ALCS. Kansas City lost to the Yankees a year ago. So this was supposed to be Tanner Bybee. He's out with food poisoning today. So who knows what he ate in Middle America earlier in the week. So it's Ben Lively, not Blake Lively, but Ben Lively. I'm going to make that joke a few times this year. Goes for Cleveland. Cole Ragans, who was amazing a year ago in his first full year as a starter, is $1.65 now in this game. Of course, before the pitching change, it was $1.30 on KC, so a nice 35-cent difference, and I think that's more than properly so from Bybee to Lively here in this one. Total up from 7.5 to 8, now juiced over on that 8 because of the pitching change.
Yeah, without a doubt, and it's up to 170 already, Jeff. It's
Yeah,
just going to move up. Crafty lefty, Reagan's, this is a tough spot now with the pitching change, but the Guardians definitely could hit the ball. It's just a matter of will they get the bat on the ball and not strike out as much? I would probably bet Kansas City, but like I said, this is opening day, and with the pitching change, you see that line move minus 170 now at the Rampart and South Point. Left-handed starter who was phenomenal to start last year. Kansas City overachieved last year. We'll see if they could keep it consistent. Very difficult game, but I would favor Kansas City. I don't like the price, though, too much.
Just generic, looking at the games, opening day, are you looking to fade pitchers and looking for good overs, or are you looking to back really good pitchers? Any strategy for our viewers?
Yeah, definitely. Alex, pitching always is premium. And if you have a really, really good pitcher, you can ride him. Now, last year, I was on the opposite. Now, Garrett Cole is a fabulous pitcher, but I was looking for spots to bet against him last year, Alex. You get no value with a guy like him. And, you have to look for value early in the season right now with these pitchers before they become inflated. Just like you said, Detroit, Kansas City today, Skeens, you have great pitchers that are going at discount prices. This is when you have to jump on them, because before too long, you're going to see, even though they have a suspect offense, Pittsburgh, anytime this kid pitches is going to be 2.5 to 1. So you have to look for some value. Pitching is the measuring stick. But if you have an offense like the Dodgers or the Mets, are projected to really hit the ball this year, you have to watch. If they start to get hot and they start to feed off of each other, then you could start to look at offenses. But pitching, I always use that as my measuring stick, and I go from there. How hot the pitcher is, how many pitches, keep your eye on pitch count, health of the pitcher. That's all important. How many times they're pitching, if they skip a spot in the rotation. These things become very important. The only team it's not important with, the Dodgers. Look at what they did to San Diego in that series. They're just using a patchwork pitching staff, and they're still able to win. So that's the team you have to. They're going to be so difficult to handicap this year, and they're going to win 100 games. But you have to find those spots where you could get those big pluses and offset the favoritism of the Dodgers and some of these marquee pitches, Alex. That's why you definitely have to look at pitching. You have to look at the Yankees pitching staff. They're banged up. You have no Hill, Cole that we spoke about. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the other starters. You're going to see some of the relief pitches move into the starting pitching rotation. So, yeah, we're just talking about pitching here.
Great advice.
I'll just say this real quick with the Dodgers, who, again, the win total was 104.5. They're already 2-0. Those numbers obviously off the board because they played the 2 games in Japan. And Dwayne, you mentioned it. Again, yeah, Tariq Skubal's probably never going to be a plus 145 dog again this year, but the Dodgers are going to be, they're going to start at $2 in almost every other game except for select opponents this year. And it's just throwing this out there real quick. If you go to the counter and bet the Dodgers money line every single day, you're going to win more days than you won't, but the days you lose is going to hurt. It's going to hurt.
All you need are the 60 losses,
yeah,
Jeff.
That's what I'm saying. That's
all
what
you need.
So,
right.
So be very careful. If you're a blind Dodger bettor, if you're just blindly betting them, you're going to end up losing this year because of some of the prices that we see. We're going to see the Dodgers, when they play the Marlins, the Dodgers are going to be, the Dodgers are going to make, if it's the wrong pitching matchup and it's not Alcantara, it could be minus 550. They could be that high against the Marlins. All it takes is baseball to happen, and all of a sudden, it's oh, wait a second. The Marlins took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers in L.A. What the hell happened? It's baseball. Any weirdness can happen.
7 wins to make that up, maybe 8 wins. You're 100% right. This is money lines. Keep that in mind for the novice gambler. This is not the straight 110 VIG or the 105 that you get in here at the Sweet 16. This is a money line, and just like Jeff said, you get these adverse matchups. You're going to see 5-6 to 1 easily, and you have to overcome. If you lose 2 out of 3, you're going to have to win 8 games to make that money up. So be careful. Baseball is a different animal than the rest of these sports because it is money line. It is not a point spread. Nothing is set or equated, similar to hockey, but you don't see hockey get to those ranges, unless it's just a monstrous mismatch and a team is decimated with injuries. That's when you'll see maybe a 3-1, 3.5. But like Jeff said, you're going to see 5-1s with the Dodgers against suspect competition at times this year. And you have to adjust and look for those holes, look for the spots where they maybe could slip up. Watch the batting lineups for the Dodgers. If Freeman sits, Betts sits, you could take your opportunities there. But that's why baseball is so fun. It's a lot of analytics now and a lot of crunching, but the old school formulas work as well. So keep your eye on it. Watch the trends, watch the lineups, watch the pitching staffs, injury reports. It's all important when you're betting on baseball. It's a long season, 162 games, guys, not like the other sports of 80 games. And the NFL is just, 20 games basically if you make the playoffs.
Dwayne, I want to go to the ice, and ironically, I'm kind of putting a couple moneyline parlays together in my head. I love Bama. You said you like Bama too, and I might throw Pittsburgh in there. Now there's one on the ice. I want your opinion here because Colorado has been playing very good hockey, but so have the Kings. The Kings, though, one of the best teams at home. So on the road this year, 14, 18, and 5. Do you think this is a good spot to take Colorado minus 150? Is that a reasonable price for the Avs?
Yes, Alex, I was talking about it earlier with Jimmy Ott. This is one of my games in the night. I think definitely now coming from home after playing some difficult games. That game against the Rangers was monstrous, and the Kings are playing at a high level, and the Rangers really they're making a playoff push. Yeah. So, that was a physical game. I preach it time and time again. When you have McKinnon and Nichushkin has to play, as long as he's healthy, Colorado is one of the top teams in the NHL. They have their goaltender problems, but they've overcome that in the past. They won a Stanley Cup with not a phenomenal starting goaltender. So I think this is a great spot for the Avalanche. Minus 150 at the Rampart in South Point. Jump on it quick. I think it's going to go up, but the Kings are very hot. So that keeps the line in check. A lot of LA bettors. They're riding high now. I was at the game against the Knights at T-Mobile. They destroyed us, even though the game got close at the end. The Kings really imposed their will. They're a strong team in the Western Conference, but this is a good opportunity for Colorado to send the message that, hey, we're still here. We're playing at a phenomenal level. Both teams have over 40 wins. I like the Avalanche. I think you're right, Alex.
Someone in the chat asked, Dwayne, what's the highest money line you can recall? Was that the one? Are we talking that Houston Tigers series from a few years ago when Verlander got beat? Do you remember that game? I think the Astros were $6 favorites, and Verlander gave up a solo homer in the top of the fifth to lose the first 5-1-0, and then gave up a homer in the top of the ninth to lose the game 2-1.
I think you're right. That was one of the highest that I've ever seen. That was up there. That was 6-1 plus. You're right about that. And you got to think, the old days pitches were in more favorable conditions, but you never seen Koufax 5-6-1. Maybe a bookmaker, back home, if you're betting in Brooklyn or if you're betting in Queens or something like that, they might pump it up. But yeah, that was one of the biggest money lines that I've seen on the Las Vegas board in my career. I'm sure Jimmy could throw out a few when Gibson was pitching, Drysdale, those guys, you get favorable matchups. Koufax, I'm sure you saw inflated money lines, but nothing like a 6-1 on Justin Verlander. Yeah, that was definitely one of the highest I've ever seen in my career of bookmaking. So, you might see that with the Dodgers this year. You're going to see a few of these big lines. And, if they were playing the White Sox in a, the National American League Series there, I think you might see a 6-7-1. So who knows?
That was August 21st of 2019. And the only reason I remember it is because I bet the Tigers first 5 in full game and won both of them.
Good for you, kiddo.
Well, that was at the peak of my idiocy, Dwayne. I was like, hey, I'm seeing this price in baseball. I got to do it. That was, just so you know, I'm on the box score. That was Derek Norris against Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander threw a 99-pitch complete game, struck out 11, gave up 2 hits. They were both solo homers. Lost the game.
99-pitch complete game and lose.
Yeah, and only give up 2 hits, and they're both solo homers.
Unbelievable. It's the only way you were going to win that bet, Mr. Parlay.
Of course. Well, Dwayne, I think I needed higher odds if you told me that was the way to get that win, right? Homers in that game, by the way, Just so we get this. I even need the first names for these guys. By Rodriguez and Hicks of the Detroit Tigers. I don't even know first names on this. Hold on a second. Now, by the way, the Tiger team won 47 games in 2019. It was Rodriguez was Ronnie Rodriguez. Dwayne, do you remember Ronnie Rodriguez? No. I have no idea who that is either. And John Hicks. Okay, I don't know who those guys are.
They're
by the
somewhere foundering in the minors.
Real quick, Ryan, Alex, you'll enjoy this. Those two dudes had a combined -1 WAR that year, just so you know.
There you go.
Yeah, so really good on that. All right, Dwayne, before we let you get out of here, any horse plays this weekend? We're approaching the Derby a little over a month away now.
Yes, I like Disruptor in the Florida Derby this weekend. I really think that, this horse, Irad Ortiz, Mike Rapoli Stables, Todd Pletcher, massive connections. The horse, got better off the board in his first start. He finished third. Next time around, he got acclimated with himself. 10-length blowout, even though it was only a maiden victory, and this is a very tough field. You have sovereignty in this field in the Florida Derby. I think this horse has a great post position. Most of the favorites have drawn to the outside. I think Irad is going to get fabulous position. Hopefully we could get 3, 2-1 in that range. I see a 4-1 morning line, but people are hip to this horse. That maiden special weight victory was monstrous. He's been better off the board his last 2 starts. I think he's definitely going to come to run and upset this Florida Derby field. Over in the Arkansas Derby, I'm going to stick with Sandman, but it's very tough to beat a Bob Baffert monster like Cornucopian. You get Johnny V on this horse. He's 7-5 morning line for Baffert, so I'm looking to bet against him. So I'll bet on Sandman. Mark Cassie, I think Jose Ortiz is in the saddle. He's great. That's Irad's brother. He won a monstrous amount of races at Fairgrounds, won the riding title by, I think it was like 30 or 40 races, and won 5 on closing day. Jose Ortiz is trying and cement himself as one of the Eclipse jockeys early on in this season. That is, a quarter over so far. We're leading into the Kentucky Derby. A big victory on Sandman would definitely make him a major attraction come the first Saturday in May, but it's going to be difficult to beat Cornucopian and Bob Baffert. So, I like kind of Disrupt a little more than Sandman in the Florida race as opposed to the Arkansas Derby. But those are my 2 picks.
He's Dwayne Colucci. Get him on the tweets at NYBookie Dwayne. See him up at the Rampart in Summerlin, race and sportsbook director up there. DC, pleasure as always. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Alex.
Have a great weekend, Dwayne.
Dwayne Colucci, everyone. All right, we'll take the shortest of breaks. When we get back, we'll look at our official plays for the West region tonight and some baseball as well when we get back. Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio.
Get ready to laugh with Punchlines with Frank Nicotero. Join Frank and his team of featured guests for your daily dose of comedy.
Reno, the Pittsburgh of the West.
Poison.
Yeah.
Poison.
Sports.
F for Falcons, Alex. We were talking Derek Carr for MVP after 2 games. Okay, me. I was.
And the funniest social media posts.
People want to show off their food. Boom. Wiener on a guy's shoulder. It's the dark tones. We bleed blue.
It's your one-stop spot for great laughs and a good time. Find us on YouTube at Punchlines FN and join the chat live weekdays at noon Pacific for the ultimate blend of jokes, sports, and viral fun.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome back in at Sports by the Book. Jeff Parles, Alex White. All right, we'll give our quick finishing thoughts on the West region, and then we'll look at baseball across the board. Of course, minus 105 on all remaining Sweet 16 games available in person here at the South Point at the kiosk, up at the Rampart, up in the Gun Gaming properties in Mesquite as well.
And team totals on there.
Yep,
right?
team totals, 1st to 15 available as
Love
well in front of me here at the South Point and all those properties as well, Casablanca and Virgin River. All right. Texas Tech, Arkansas is the early game. Alex, your dad was very, very much all in on the Hogs for this game. I like Texas Tech to win outright, but I really have no interest in laying any sort of points here, which right now are at 5.5 and 148. JT Toppin's the best player in this game, and when push comes to shove here, Arkansas has already gotten away with back-to-back games where they have not had the best player in the game. It's very hard to do it 3 times in the tournament where you don't have at least the best individual player in the game. I like Texas Tech to win outright, but I'm not strong enough to lay 5.5 in this game.
I really like Texas Tech over the weekend. I was on them against Drake and watched most of that game. So you're right. I do really like JT Toppin and company. I think that they've played very well. I had them moving on, beating St. John's here in this round in my bracket. But, I mean, when my dad gets that animated and excited about something, I gotta follow that and follow his power ratings and adjustment there. So definitely taking the points here with Arkansas. I have already bet it, taking the 5.5. I do think size is going to matter too, and Arkansas definitely has the height and the guys in this one. So should be a good one. We'll see how far the Razorbacks can actually make a run.
I'll just throw this out real quick on these 2 games. The SEC could get an all-SEC Elite 8 here in this region. It's the only one where that is still in play. If it's Florida and Arkansas, I think Florida will destroy Arkansas on Saturday. If it's Florida against Texas Tech, I think that's the best possible. Again, it's chalk, but it's the best possible matchup left on the board. Florida and Maryland, we talked about it earlier, Alex. This Florida team is super talented, but Maryland, again, survive and advance. Front-loaded roster for the Terps.
See, I like this crab 5, and I got to keep going with them. I did take the points. I'm either going to hate myself or love myself after today because it's going to be a dog day, and they all cover. I've got 3 of them. Bama's the only favorite that I really do feel confident about, and I'm hoping the other 3 can keep it close. And, I mean, if it's all chalk and they all cover, that's what I mean. I'm going to hate myself, and I'm going to be taking too many shots here. But right now, with how the ratings are, I think this is the time where those underdogs can keep it close and maybe even have some upsets here.
Of the 4 games tonight, I actually think Maryland is the most logical of the upsets. Get Florida's frontline players in foul trouble, make them rely on the depth. Maryland's big guys, Queen and Reese, are both high-end players. I think this is the most possible upset. Now, I don't think there is any underdog winning outright tonight. The power rate the dogs are potentially winning. I would go Maryland 1, Arkansas 2, BYU 3, and then Arizona is a distant 4th tonight of the underdogs winning outright, Alex.
So, of course, Arizona's going to pull it off.
Probably.
No,
Probably. No, I don't think so. I just...
They're 9.5 for a reason. I agree. But they should definitely the 4th one. I think I have Arkansas and Maryland switch, but besides that, same BYU and then Arizona.
Let's go to baseball then. Alex will give her plays later on the whiteboard for tomorrow's games. Baseball-wise, Alex, I just want to go a few games here that have been asked about in the chat. And Dean asked about the total in the Pirates in the Twins and the Cardinals game. Likes it over 7.5, but got to check that weather in St. Louis. It's Gray and Pablo Lopez. Sonny Gray really struggled at the end of spring training, but is still the overall starter. Minus 15 on the Twins and even on St. Louis. Alex, I have the Cardinals finishing last in the NL Central. I think they're clearly the worst team in that division, assuming the Pirates' offense gives them anything.
Right.
Anything at all. Weird spot to just see St. Louis as this this floundering team, but that's what they are going into the season, at least to me.
Well, especially like my dad was saying, it is a good organization. So we'll see what they can do, if they can do more with less there. But I'm with whoever asked that question. Was it Dean?
That was Dean.
Yeah, I like the over as well. Got an 8.5 here between these two, mostly because the pitcher rating, not the best, even though Sonny Gray right there, about 100, and expecting something from the offenses. So run difference, but I'm going to tread lightly with the totals today for baseball.
Just throwing some others that are at, of course, all these pitching matchups. It's everyone's ace going at it. I mean, we have Zach Wheeler and Mackenzie Gore in Washington. Wheeler's $1.50 here at the South Point. You can actually do a little bit better at other shops on the favorite. You're not going to do better on the dog than you are here at plus 135. Pass completely for me with that total at 7. It'd actually only be a lean to over 7, even with that minus 125. But stay off more so than anything. I'm
leaning to the dog here, and I might even look at Nats in the first 5 because I do think that number's just a little bit too high for Zach Wheeler here. I think Mackenzie Gore is plenty good. So yeah, I would look first 5 though.
Other NL-only games, Logan Webb and Hunter Green is a great pitching matchup in Cincinnati. Of course, the originators of opening day. Reds are minus 110 favorites here at the South Point. Total 7.5 would only be a look to the under, but again, that is a very difficult ballpark to play unders in, regardless of time of year.
And I do think that number is just right, minus 110 here. Remember last year we kind of were watching Logan Webb, and he was much better at home than on the road. So I think the Reds are the rightful favorite, even though it's not a huge number.
San Diego and Atlanta, opener of the year for both. Rematch of last year's wild card series where San Diego skunked Atlanta out in a 2-0 fashion. Chris Sale was unable to pitch in those games a year ago, is obviously fully healthy. Braves are road favorite, $1.25. Michael King on the other side. I'd be looking to take the price on San Diego would be the only thing I'd look to do here. Again, be very cautious early in the baseball season. Let everything manifest before really going heavy on any sort of things here, Alex.
I completely agree. Really money management here. Smaller unit size than you've been betting for college basketball or other sports, I would suggest. But yeah, I think Michael King's a very, very good pitcher. Between him and Dylan Cease, I like both of them for the Padres. So I think that early on, you do want to try and get some plus money here with some good pitchers. But Atlanta Braves on the other side, as we talked about yesterday, I mean, we're expecting a regression to the mean, and that means them improving this year. So I'd tread lightly as well.
Alex, any other games on the card that really stand out right now? You got Arizona and the Cubs with Justin Steele and Zach Gallen, where Arizona's a small favorite in that game at minus 125 in the NL, and then, of course, the whole collection of other interleague games and AL games here on the card today.
Looking a little bit at Toronto, I know my dad talked about them yesterday kind of being sneaky, and I know he liked them today at that price, minus 115. With Jose Barros on the mound at home, you have the better pitcher there. So that's really the only one. It's funny, Dean Hilt did talk about that total. That is one of the biggest differences, a one-run difference there, but that's really it. I think Skeens maybe taking that first 5 or laying that first 5. I think it's minus 150 for the Pirates. Don't really know what we're going to get from Sandy, right? He's been out for quite some time, so I do like that one as well.
Two other games I want to bring up. We mentioned already Kansas City's now $1.70 favorite against Cleveland. No Bybee, it's going to be Lively instead, so that's why that line has really popped up. The White Sox are throwing a pitcher I've never heard of, which is always a good sign, and probably that will be the common theme of the Chicago White Sox here in 2025. Sean Burke, who was a reliever last year, gets the gay opening day start for the White Sox. With that said, I'm not sure the Angels should be $1.65 on the road against anyone, but it is the White Sox. They can improve by 10 games and still now reach their win total this year. That's how ugly things were a year ago and how ugly things probably will be again for them this year.
You missed one here interleague with the Mets and the Astros.
Don't worry, I was getting there. Don't worry. I got to hit
the
other.
You said 2 other, and then you said 2. So I was nervous.
The counting's hard sometimes. Gilbert and Severino, by the way, in Oakland and Seattle, or not Oakland, excuse me, the Athletics. By the way, the odds boards that we look at need to update that. It's not Oakland anymore. 7 under, always good to play unders in Seattle. Just throwing that out there. And then now I have 2 more. The 2 New York teams, Yankees, Rodon today, of course, no Garrett Cole, $1.40s against Freddie Peralta, total of 8, really nothing to be had in this game on that pricing. And in the Mets with Clay Holmes. By the way, Clay Holmes making a little bit of baseball history here today. Just the second player, and this is from Sarah Langs, who is as good as anyone, as we know. It is the trivia question? Okay, perfect. The trivia question then was, sorry, I should always look at the rundown before things. So Clay Holmes making history that JR apparently got right after looking it up. JR, no cheating moving forward. That goes for everybody. Clay Holmes is just going to be the second player to start opening day the year after saving a game on opening day the year before. John Candelaria of the 1983 Pirates was the other one to do it. So there you go. Holmes will do that as well. He's also going to be the 18th player with an opening day start and a save in his career since 1969, which is when saves were started to be recorded. Again, Mets rotation, a little bit of a mess because of injuries. Price for that one is right. I don't have an issue with it. I think the Mets are better than the Astros, but Valdez with the advantage, minus 120 on Houston, plus 105 on New York. Can't really do much better than that on a number for the Mets in the market, Alex.
No, but both of them high offensive numbers. So I've got it at 8.5. Looking for a whole run difference, but I would lean to the over.
Happy birthday, Ryan. Now, okay, all right. Happy birthday to Clay Holmes. Thank you, Ryan. There we go.
Does that mean take the Mets or what?
I don't. No idea. It's baseball.
Yeah.
Why is anything, right, Jerry? All right. Let's go to hockey before we get out of here today, and the whiteboard as well. Alex, 2 games that stand out to you today via the total, and we start with Pittsburgh and Buffalo. As we know, these teams, again, just playing out the string more so than anything. Total of 6 for this one in Western New York. $1.35 on the Buffalo Sabres in this one.
So I will just say, and anybody who is following and betting hockey now down the stretch, be careful. I'm gonna stay away from unders with teams that don't have anything to play for. These 2 don't really have anything to play for. I really like this game over. I made it 6.5. You've got Pittsburgh, who's 31st in goals against, and then you have Buffalo, who's 29th in goals against. Sabres can also score. They're 12th in goals for, averaging 3.1 per game. So really like this game going over that 6. I also like the Stars and the Flames over 5.5. I made this game 6, and that was before I even realized that Ottinger will not be in net. It will be Casey DeSmith, the backup goalie here. Had a great year, but I do think that we have some room to get over that 5.5. Also, Calgary still playing to keep that playoff spot and keep their playoff hopes alive. So 2 overs for me in hockey. And then I do like Colorado on the money line a lot. I am going to tie it up with Bama. And I don't think I can parlay first 5 baseball, huh?
You could if you wanted, but that's always a fun one if you want to do that. And then, again, this is a good hockey card, as it always is on these Thursdays. Anything else we got to look at here, Alex?
No, they're good numbers. I didn't see any big differences from my sheet besides those 2 totals, really.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll get the whiteboard all set up, and we'll get everything ready to get out of here on a Thursday. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza, plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book, over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
We're back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Whiteboard time. Alex, looking to bounce back after a rough Wednesday.
That's right, 0-2, and my pizza money bet as well. So, gonna have a good Thursday here. I'm very excited about the Sweet 16. I will not be here tomorrow. I'll be back Sunday, so I'm gonna put all of my best bets here for you guys. So I went over 153.5 for Arizona and Duke. I would wait in game, see if you can get a better number. I'm taking 3 dogs tonight. Arizona plus 9.5, Arkansas plus 5.5, and Maryland plus 6.5. I mentioned 3 unders that I like tomorrow. These are my 2 favorites. So Purdue and Houston under 132, and then Kentucky and Tennessee under 146. I also really like the points here with Kentucky. They've already beaten Tennessee twice this year. I think it's a bad matchup for the Wolves, and Kentucky is healthy and playing their best basketball. Couple hockey for you today. I do have 2 overs. Pittsburgh and Buffalo over 6, and I like the Dallas Stars and the Flames over 5.5. I'm doing a money line parlay here. I like Bama on the money line tonight, and I like the Colorado Avs at minus 150 against the Kings. Here's 2 more just pizza money bets as talking to Colucci and throughout the show. So Athletics taking a shot there, plus 150 against Seattle, because we know they do struggle offensively. So I think the Athletics will be able to hang in that one.
There we go. There's the plays for Alex on the whiteboard here. An active Thursday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll just call
we'll call
3
it,
days.
We'll call. I guess we'll call it a early weekend.
Yes.
For some here. Of course, Alex is back as always on Sunday. Her and Kenny will be here. Get you ready for those 2 Elite 8 games on Sunday. I'll be back tomorrow, but our Free Throw Friday show is going to be in this normal time slot, 10 a.m. Chris and Vinny will both be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. with me. We'll break down the weekend. We'll break down baseball. Chris has some things he wants to say about baseball betting here at the South Point and other non-gaming properties as well. And Vinny will be here. We'll get through all of it tomorrow at 10 a.m. So be on the lookout for that as the solo Sports by the Book show tomorrow. Full day here at the studio. Frank Nicotero is back. He's at noon. On Punchlines FN, and then Gone Racing 1:30, correct? 1:30 for Gone Racing with Jeff Motley and Brendan Gahn, getting you ready for the weekend in NASCAR at Gone Racing on YouTube. All right, that's all we got. We'll see you again next time tomorrow at 10 a.m. Myself, Chris, and Vinny will be here on Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. Shout out Jerry, Vince, Brian, Sean, and as well.